I'm absolutely serious. I think we need to either stop charging people to come into Cameron Park Lake. I just don't see the value of that. There's, like I said in my last meeting, there's a ring of condominiums around the lake. There's people who have their eyeballs on that path all the time. They can follow if there's an issue. Even members of the public have submitted public comments saying there's not an issue in the winter when there's nobody guarding the gate. But we have problems at the skate park. Why are we paying a temp to man the kiosks at the lake when we have problems at the skate park? I'd rather see none of that or move that individual over to the skate park.
We can do that, Councilman.
That can be answered. I know the answer to that.
I know it's Cheryl, but because I still have questions. And
No. If you want to contact me offline, I can tell you why we don't have a person there.
Okay, let's let her finish her comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you. Again, I appreciate the staff, I appreciate the board, my fellow board members, I appreciate the public. I'm sorry, but I'm not happy with this budget because to me, it's not a budget. I can't see how much land it costs, and therefore I'm not comfortable with this. And I'm also not happy with charging people to enter the lake when all we're doing is paying the temp and the kiosk, in my understanding. And if we're going to pay somebody in the kiosk, I think it should be through the parks budget, not through a separate department budget. I think that's kind of wishy, not so transparent as it could be. Those are my comments.
And just to clarify, the kiosk fees are usually recreation and parks, and so the kiosk fees do help with the maintenance process.
Actually, the information I was given was that when I asked for this information, was that $21,000 comes in through the kiosk, and then I asked for how much does it cost to staff the kiosk, and I was told that it's $21,000. It was actually a little bit more to staff the kiosk than was taken in. So I don't understand how that helps me in the park.
And we'll try to go back to later at the end when we do the website.
Thank you.
I mean, in a way, I have been approached by several of the senior citizens, and they have requested or asked if there was any chance that they could walk around the lagoon prior to 9 a.m. without a fee. And I said, well, I'll ask that at the board. That was one thing. The other thing was the skate park. We're having a number of issues with the skate park. I know it was solved one way, and that was by using floodlights that hit at night. And they were very, very bright. And also you have the sheriff driving by once a night that no one knows what time. People are, especially younger people, are tending not to get into as much mischief if there's a floodlight on, and they know anyone can see whatever they're doing. But it's a thought. And of course, we have to find out financially what we run and follow. But that was just my question. Thank you.
Question and one thing, something that came up in the budget, having a meeting. So just to say on record, I'm just a little unsure, concerned about projections for revenue. We don't have, and when we talk about this, we don't have a clear idea of how we're going to get there. We're hopeful, and we're hoping that consistency with building our programs will grow us there and everything. That's still just a little concerned about balancing the budget on revenue. We're just not sure. One minor piece, and maybe this is, we're not going to discuss this here, but on the solar energy initiative, I wondered about the possibility of moving that as a budget line item rather than be a reserve expenditure that the board would approve simply because it is going to be a capital outlay if we do that. I don't know if that's something we can do or makes any difference or...
What was the first part of your question? Sorry.
Oh, we're budgeting for the solar energy initiative. Put that in.
It's in the capital.
It is in the capital.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, I guess, having come to the meeting for many years, starting in 2005, and watching the summary sheet get smaller and smaller, less information for myself as a current board member to understand what we're actually supposed to be approving. I agree with Ms. Carlson. I don't have enough information here. I'm shocked. Ms. Nybauer was such a proponent for transparency. We used to have budget columns, 4 or 5 more columns, to really understand what we were approving here. I find that there's redundancy in the account codes. I don't understand. There's nothing that comes out of budget and admin. We don't get to talk about budget in the other committee meetings, so by the time we get to this, I don't know what we're looking at. And I spent some time with the general manager and trying to ask some very specific questions about some of these line items. Like, just the first, just one of them, 4182, on page 1 of attachment 8C. Picnic site rentals. That we had a final budget in 2018-2019 for $90,960. We have a projected final budget revenue of $27,000. Why? How? What's changing when we're talking about not even having signs out in the community that we rent both? I mean, the concession, Cameron Park concession plummeting by 2/3. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand where we're getting revenues. We have no programs happening at the community center anymore. We've lost our Reds, Whites, and Jewels. We've lost our Spring Garden and Antique Show. We've had one musical guest here. We have the symphony here, and we're shutting down over the holidays. We don't have any programs, and yet we're paying so much money to outsource. Every single thing has to have an outsource from our supplies to cleaning our bathrooms to consultants. Our consultants. I don't know what the general manager is doing, but I don't think it's right. And so I'm very concerned with this budget. When we come across things like this $22,000 that was requested in February that belongs to the fire department, where's that money? Why aren't they getting what they're supposed to have? Where is this money being allocated? Ms. Rogers brought up the concept. I mean, we're not even talking about LLADs. We don't even, and the fact that we asked for an oversight committee, all of a sudden we have an ad hoc committee that's been created, and we, as a board, aren't allowed to ask any questions. We're the board representing you and the other almost 20,000 citizens of this community, and I can't ask the question about where's the LLAD money. There was $662,000 requested from the county out of our restricted fund balance in November. Now, I understand we have a new general manager. She's never held this position before. We have a new finance rep who's never held this position before. Last time money was requested for the LLADs was in June of 2017 by the interim general manager, Ruth Ramirez. following October, $862,000 was requested. I was the board president at the time, and I heard not word one from the general manager or from the finance officer that we got that influx of money to assist our community, to keep our community up to date. And rightfully so, because all of you who live here, which we all do, we pay on our taxes. We pay to have our lights and our community look good. We pay for the irrigation. We're not El Dorado Hills. We don't have boulevards full of flowers, but we do have some things. And as Park Superintendent mentioned previously, we have the help from Brownsburg to do some of the things like trimming the bushes along Mary Chase there, because they can't afford it. But to hear in the preliminary budget meetings, and I happened to sit on the budget committee 1 month as the alternate, all the reconciliation lines were missing from the LLAD budget. All of the reconciliation lines. And when I asked about SCI's auditing of our money, they don't audit. All they do is take the paperwork that we give them and they slide it in the appropriate section in the report that we paid thousands of dollars for. So I'm very concerned with the budget. It is not transparent. I don't understand these massive changes, and maybe there's good explanations. As I said, I did sit down with the general manager and try to ask questions of the ones that I was most concerned about, but I've got concerns about a lot of them. The thought of, again, hiring or having more consultants come from these water playgrounds, and they've got a beautiful one, promontory. If you've never been to it, really, you should go and see it. It's delightful. It's a hard surface, and the water comes up, and the kids squeal, and it's fantastic. But we just realized, and I'm sure many of you didn't know, that we have a dam at Cameron Park Lake. And we are talking about damming again, about damming the lake in order to put in a hard surface water park. We have to put in another dam. We just spent how much money getting our dam certified? We're going to have to put another dam in, because what's going to happen to the water, or the lagoon, what's going to happen to the lake water? We're talking, having lived in San Francisco, in San Francisco for the 1989 earthquake, it's called sugar sand. There is sand at the lake that's sugar sand, and it has to do with the actual complexity of the shape of each granule of sand. And in San Francisco, as many of you may know, a lot of the land on the peninsula are landfills. They covered up boats that burnt at the docks, and all of the marina is landfill, where the yacht club is, that whole beautiful marina green. So in the earthquake, the pressure from the fault erupting caused hundreds of spouts of sand to go 100 feet in the air, all along that whole marina, and it was like gopher holes. So we're talking about trying to dam up an area that's nothing but sugar sand, because it's beach sand that we continue to replenish over the years. It's just folly. I thought that the superintendent told me that we've already had someone else to inspect this. I don't know, why is that even on here? I couldn't agree more about charging at the lake. It's absurd. We don't charge 9 months out of the year. People are able to go in and out. The seniors are able to walk during the year. They're supposed to have a permit. It's like, we're not even advertising what we do have. The suggestions that were brought forward by the park employees said if you actually had attendees at the concession stand selling things that people actually would want to eat, we could make a lot of money. And we always did. We always did. I don't know, and I live here, and I'm on the board for 5 years, that there is a boat to rent. How do we know this? I continue to hear from residents that they take their company to go rent a boat, and there's nobody there to rent it to them. So I'm very concerned. I want to know what happened to the LLAD money. There were other requisitions for LLAD money. Why is it not transparent? And there aren't enough columns in this budget to understand what it is that we're being asked to do. So I'll open it up now to the public.
Yeah, from what I've been told, attachment 8A, I don't know if any of you, 8A, I don't know if any of you go to this. This is the overview. Yeah, we have a zero deficit budget. No, we don't. Because here's the bottom line. If you look under community center, it's going to have revenues of $306,000.
Which line item, sir?
It's 8A revenues, community center. We are anticipating a budget of $310,000. 306 of that is going to be from revenues. Recreation, $404,000. What that means is, in this budget started as of July 1st, this community center has to book $25,500 a month to make that number. Parks and Recreation has to book $36,667 a month. I don't think we've done almost $51,000 in this community center. And we're projecting that it's going to be closed 3 weeks. Well, we're not going to have any revenue. And we're not going to have any expenses. But where's that $25,500 of that nut coming in November for that 1 week? And the 2 weeks in December. Does anybody have an answer? And this is your plan A. This is what I was told. These spending priorities, with no money going to the community center, $3,163, and zero to recreation, is your plan A. If these numbers aren't filled, what's your plan B? Anybody got an answer? Are we going to play Sphinx? I guess so. Yeah. This is ridiculous. The next time you guys go to the Cameron Park Unicorn Farm, take me with you, please. I'd love to see them. And I know you guys go there to do budget work. You have to. So please, next time one of you go to the Unicorn Farm, please take me with you. I'm dying to see it. And I do have a comment. I have made this comment to other people. I'm going to make it here. I am really alarmed that I'm disturbed by the fact that we have board members who are so historically ignorant of how this community service district works that they don't understand basic fundamentals. And they have to ask questions that the public has to answer. Now, I'm not on the board, but I can answer Felicity's question. And my question is, why do we have board members that don't know those answers? Thank you. Oh, and Holly, thank you for being through this so quickly.
Thank you. First, I want to bring your attention to the activity guide and how thin it is. So what Holly Morrison said about our program, we're offering nothing like we used to. Nothing. I mean, so many programs have been cut. I mean, it's pathetic. I don't know what's driving that trend down the track. You can talk about the savings all you want, but you're not telling the public about the increases. Salaries increased between 18-19 to your 19-20 budget, $163,000. Dental, $7,216. Retirement, $37,586. Workers' comp, $37,501, which I understand that part of that is due to an old claim, but still it's an increase. So I'm just rounding. So it's about $245,400 in increases just in those areas. Now, you do save some money in your part-time salaries to the tune of $79,175 and $3,000 in overtime. You're saying you're going to save $58,458, and that's just health benefit, having figuring for your full-time 13 people that you have on the health roles. But still, if you deduct that $140,000 and some change, that's still $100,000 more in your budget. You fail to tell the people the increases of the salaries and benefits that have been created by the board allowing the manager to hire full-time people, which all these years we knew we could never afford. I told the manager yesterday, there's going to come a time we're going to have to lay off. And I really hate to say that word as a retired public employee, but the spending is up, and the revenues, in my estimation, they're guessing. I want to know when we're going to have reserves. We have been talking reserves for 15 years. How hard is it to set up a reserve? How hard is it? How difficult is it for you to write a check out of your fund balance and create reserves? That is where the $22,000 that you took out of the county that was earmarked for the fire department equipment should have gone, not in your general fund. I know how this works. They hate it when I call general fund, by the way, but, we call it that at the city, at the fire department, and the county. So they like to call it a fund balance. Well, it's your general fund. All your money's in one pot. We have no reserves. We're not saving. We're not putting away. We're just spending. And another thing that bothers me, and it bothered me when they did it, I didn't agree with it when Ramirez was here, was putting in the revenue for the equipment rental of our fire equipment. And this year is your perfect example. Knock on wood, we're not going to have devastating fires. We may take in nothing. But because that money has been taken year after year, instead of putting a reserve for our replacement fire engines, the pressure will be now put on the fire department's budget. This has fallen on deaf ears with the board here, the manager here, the finance person here, and prior boards for years. That money, prior to this administration, over $1 million was stolen. And I say stolen, to boost up our fund balance by the prior general manager. Now you're looking at a fire season where you might not see a dime, but you've got fire engine payments. Now you could have taken that money from the county instead of shoring up your fund balance and taken that $30,000 and paid down on engine 89. But no, you guys, you're not critical thinkers. You're just not. It's like, I need more time. I have a couple more things, please.
Approved, Martin? All in favor? Aye.
And what really bothers me when I look at the revenue projected to the community center, this center has never made this kind of money. I don't know where you guys are coming from. I think that you're maybe have something up on the board and you're throwing darts and you're coming up with monies. I just don't see this happening. And I hope the entire board is listening to me, because I do know more than you guys know. In fact, I think I know more than some of your staff knows. But nobody wants to hear me, nobody wants to hear Gerald, nobody wants to hear Bill, nobody wants to hear David. You don't want to hear any of us. Anything we have to say falls on deaf ears. But when the proverbial poop hits the fan, I hope you remember the things that you get told by the few public, 15 years of my life I've given up coming to these meetings, and I keep hoping for a miracle. The only person that I and Felicity ask questions, and Holly, nobody else, it's like, hello, I'm just here taking up space.
I know, that kind of hurts when she puts it like that, but that's okay, I'll talk anyway. I agree, a lot of these budget figures are absolute fantasy. They have nothing to do with reality when you compare them to what has occurred here in the past as far as revenue is concerned. You're just, well, I won't tell you the term that my daughters would use about making up stuff like that. It's not very polite. But these figures aren't real. I don't know how you can approve this budget, you know, knowing and being told what you've just been told, because it's fantasy, it's fantasy numbers, it's fuzzy math. This LLAD situation where $600,000 is pulled out of the county from all of the various LLADs and then dumped into the checking account, basically. And my guess is that you cannot tell me or somebody from David West, for instance, okay, you took however many tens of thousands of dollars out of our LLAD fund, put it in your checking account. What does that represent reimbursement for? Specifically, how many hours of labor at how much per hour, and what materials were used that would justify you taking that money and putting it into your checking account and calling it reimbursement for services that you provided. My guess is that you cannot, with any level of specificity, give those people an accounting for that money and ensure them that those funds were spent solely to service that LLAD and specifically what that money was spent for. My guess is you can't do that. Am I wrong? You can do that? You can show them a spreadsheet. Oh yeah, in the month of June, you had X number of hours at this level of service or for this at this dollars per hour, and you had this much material spent, and that's what, and you can go through and do it for the year and justify exactly how much money you took out of their fund and put in your checkbook. I don't think you can do it. I think the more obvious answer is you grab $600,000 from the county of LLAD money to cash flow Cameron Park CSD and to be able to afford to keep that checkbook going, as we've seen, $600,000 a month in expenditures. And I don't know, I don't want to say I smell fraud, but those are restricted funds, and they are to be used only for services to that LLAD from which they came. And you board members need to be asking these questions. You guys got to show some level of inquisitiveness about how the finances of this district are, and you seem to just not have any clue at all, or not even any curiosity as to how these things operate and how they're accounted for. You guys are really falling down. But listen, I like your idea about moving the kiosk from the lake over to. The only problem is, if you spend $21,000 for 3 months over at the lake to have somebody at the kiosk, is that correct? Or is it 4? I think it's 3 months, okay? So imagine if we put somebody there all year round at kiosk at the thing, it would be $80,000, you know. The reason, what we were told previously, is why we can't have the skate park monitor. We were said that, oh, if you put a monitor over there, then legally you're responsible. You know, it increases your liability. We were told that by Greg Stanton about a zillion times. But I don't know, other places seem to be able to keep a monitor in their skate park, and it doesn't look like a blight. So, but yeah, you should not approve this budget because it's fantasy.
Thank you, sir.
Start asking questions. I have more.
Hold on.
Please,
There's no comment.
When I hear hire a solar energy expert, something like that drives me crazy because we're going to spend thousands of dollars. You know, every company that you call that does solar has experts in those companies. And they will come out and they will tell you how to solve your problems, how to work on your solar problem. So, again, when we mention hiring experts and hiring consultants, that tells me one thing, and it's very basic. We have the dumbest board that we've ever had in all the years that I've come in here. Because if you're not smart enough to get a couple solar people out here and sit down and talk to them and go through the building and look at all the aspects that we have to fill here, then that has to be what comes to mind. You're not smart enough, you get on this board, you're not smart enough to figure out any of these things, you need an expert for everything. Yeah, if you need a doctor, you need an expert. If you need an attorney, oh, wait a minute, no, I'm not going there. But, yeah, let's not hire experts and then find out that they come in here and they feed you a bunch of bull crap, and then they disappear after they get their check. So let's give a lot of thought to that. You have a problem there?
No, I don't. I was just thinking, we just had the solar stick on for the Elks Lodge. It takes a while, it's not overnight, but it's...
You don't need an expert.
No, I've done some dealing with solar. It's not that complicated. It really isn't. And, you know, we've had multiple places here in the community that have had done big solar projects recently. Ponderosa has done one, I believe, Oak Ridge High School has done it, you know. Certainly, we could draw from
Dr.
there.
Morrison, I'm sorry, Dr. Dave, but I think this is Bill's chance to speak, and I'm not sure if it's appropriate.
You don't back it.
I want to give Bill a chance to
I didn't
speak.
yield before me. I didn't yield before. Did you yield before me?
No, I need a ride home.
Yeah, I know you did, right.
The 3 months, and that is the 3 months that the kiosk is open. If we're paying $21,000 for 3 months, what kind of a salary are we paying the person to sit in a booth and stare out the window when almost nothing is going on there? I'm baffled with that. Again, after over 10 years, every year when it became budget time, I heard, we are very hopeful. Well, we've been hopeful for 10 years, and what do we get out of being hopeful? Budget deficit, budget deficit, budget deficit, budget deficit. So hopeful probably isn't the right word. I also heard that we don't have much of a history. Well, who the hell can come up with we don't have a history? If you've only had your business open for 1 year, you don't have a history. But if you've had your business open for 10 years and seen the dollars that come in over those 10 years, how many dollars come in each year and how much it changes, you have a history. So don't feed me that crap that you don't have a history. And again, consultants and experts, let's be very sure that we can't do it without a consultant or an expert.
I'm on the board of our little HOA. And we didn't have any reserves. We weren't that aware of what the Sterling Davis Act and all these things. A few years ago, we got a resident who had lived on the other side of the lake. And he had totally revamped the deficit that HOA was in and set us on the path of a reserve study. So now we're working to achieve things that we weren't able to do before. If we, as a little HOA, have to do this, it seems to me the responsibility of this district to do the same thing. I'm glad that the LLAD is being brought up, and thank you, Barbara, for bringing this research study. One of the first meetings I ever came to was because I looked on my property tax bill and saw LLAD and didn't know what it meant. I called it all the numbers for library and everybody was 530, but that one was an 800 number. I called it, and it's someplace in Fairfield, it's an engineering firm, they didn't know what I was talking about. Finally, they figured out what I was asking. I didn't know what I didn't know, so how did I know? So I came to the board meeting and asked about it, and because our lights look like crud with all the spider webs and everything on there. And I still have the same complaint. Was told that it's PG&E's responsibility. Well, why are we paying this? At that we were paying the engineering firm about $5,000 when I first brought this to the board's attention. Now it's upwards of $15,000. And what do we have to show for it? I don't know. I don't know what's in the budget about the LLAD, but it's still a big question mark to me.
Thank you.
My answer is yes.
Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, they took all the money out.
I will bring it back to the board. So we have a resolution before us. Do we have any comments on the budget? What we'd like to see? Are you ready to move forward? I think I've had
Council, do you mind us what our responsibility is here from preliminary
It
now?
doesn't have to be done. We have a resolution before us. I'm just asking if you have any more comments on the board. All right, so if not, then any other comments, Joe? Is there a problem? I'm really tired of the attitude. So, if you have something to say, ask to speak.
So what I'll do is, I understand that the board has some mixed feelings about this budget, and so let me give you some options. I think that that might be helpful to you, okay? We do have a duty to have a final budget by September 1. So if you do not approve the final budget before you, there's two other options. You can take the preliminary budget that was approved in June, that can become your final budget, or you can go to your 18-19 fiscal year budget and roll that forward as your final budget. Staff has more work to do and is planning already to come back to the board with, we understand that the revenues in recreation and the community center may not be realistic, but what occurred was that the board did not place, you have a limited amount of property tax. Property taxes did not go to the recreation department budget or the community center budget. So your choice is to reallocate the existing property taxes from other program areas
Your recommendation.
or allow staff time to figure out what services can be provided with offset by fees. So anyway, those are the options that you have. Staff has already knows that they're coming back to you later this fall with additional budget information and probably budget adjustments.
Jason?
I don't know how you feel about that, say something. But I would only ask that you formally close the public hearing on this.
Yes.
As I understand, there were no more comments.
Thank you. So we will close the public hearing portion of the budget conversation. So any other comments or advice on, prior to bringing forward the resolution 2019-15? Any recommendations, any other comments?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
no, that
to
was,
the general manager's comments.
no, I think we should.
Either approve the fiscal year 1920 final budget as presented. Second option is we approve the preliminary budget or we go to the 18-19 budget and approve that. And then what happens if we choose 2 or 3?
If I remember the options in the order that you listed them, that would become the budget for the upcoming year, and the staff would go back and revise some issues. If I understood the second and third one, those
Yes,
essentially stop.
you either
stop
approve, you take the,
resolutions made.
right, approve the preliminary budget, or go back and approve the 18-19 budget, or approve the budget as presented. Those are the 3 options. So, let's begin. We have a resolution before us, item number 2019-18 of the Board of Directors of the Cameron Park Community Services District on this day, August 21st, 2019. Resolution adopting the Cameron Park Community Services District fiscal budget 2019-2020 budget. Whereas the preliminary fiscal year 2019-20 budget was adopted by this board on June 2019, and whereas the Budget Admin Committee has reviewed the proposed final fiscal year 2019-20 budget, and whereas proper notice was published in accordance with the law that said proposed final fiscal year 2019-20 budget was open for inspection, and that a public hearing was held, was held on August 21st, 2019, and interested taxpayers were given the opportunity to voice their opinion on the proposed budget. And whereas the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget has a beginning budgeted fund balance of $3,356,572 and an ending balance of $3,132,172. And whereas the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget is due to the County of El Dorado by September 1, 2019. Now therefore be it resolved that the district adopts attachment 8C attached to this resolution and made part therein as the Cameron Park Community Services fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. So I want to ask Jason, if we close the conversation, but now we have options before us, isn't the public allowed to speak to the options presented before the board?
It's at your discretion whether or not you want to reopen the public hearing on this.
Okay.
If you do, then everyone will have an opportunity to continue their comment, and then we still close the public hearing and bring back to the board with their comments.
Okay. Well, it's actually not repetitious. What we have on the current budget proposal, but we now have 3 options before us. So why don't we take a vote on the resolution that I just read, and if we have a motion, let's go from there. And if we do not pass it, then we will go to the other option. So do I have a motion?
Remind me, within the motion, there is no more discussion. Or is there?
There can be.
You can still have, between the board
Between the board
members,
members.
you can still have
Yes.
discussion. Yes.
So based on what I just read, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2019-18?
Can we discuss for a moment? I'm
Uh,
sorry, I'd like to discuss for a moment. Before we make a motion on that.
Go ahead.
Only because
We don't have a motion yet.
we don't have a motion, and we're using the motion at hand because of the other options. This thing is simply fact, and I don't know that I would ever approve the previous budget, which was everyone, because the idea was to try to get that down. We're not going to try to approve a budget that's going to be even higher than this. So I'm not sure that any of us want to go back with that. Versus, if we go back to the 2018-19.
That's not the end of it.
Right, but 2018-19 budget, I don't know how we can approve that when there are some of our costs. It was contracted with Cal Fire and Loan, which is different than what's in that budget. We can't approve a budget that doesn't match with expenses already committed to. I don't know how to do that.
There has to be adjustments.
Right, so in that sense, the adjustments are coming back to us regardless of what we approve at that point.
Okay?
Just want to make sure that we then we talked about that before we considered the options, what the implications are in the budgets.
Understood. Any questions from the board members? Or any other comments? So, is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we pass this resolution with an amendment, that the general manager and staff come back to us with a plan B, meaning if we are not on track with this budget by 6 months in, what the plan is, what steps will be taken to meet that shortfall, whether that's success program, et cetera. If we need it, we're good. If we don't, we have to have something in place that we can initiate quickly.
Okay, well, I take opposition to your comment if we need it. There's a budget on the board, there's a budget proposal on the table. I'm not sure if that's a fair assignment for the general managers to have an approved budget and then have to come back.
We're planning that anyway, because we know that there are improvements that need to take place in the recreation budget and also the community center budget. So we're planning to come back, whatever resolution we approve.
Why weren't those presented in this budget?
Because it was involving recreation and park staff to make those things correct, and they were involved in summer spectacular and summer operations. We made the decision in June not to put property tax in those two program areas. Staff simply hasn't had time to digest that and get something back to you yet.
Procedural question, there was a motion and there was a second. I don't know.
Well, I'd like to have, Eric, could you restate your clear vote?
Motion that we pass.
Yeah.
The motion we pass resolution number 2019-18 with the amendment. I don't know that it was stated quite as clearly before, but that the general manager return with any adjustments of the plan B should the revenue in particular not meet expectations, and we have to make more dramatic, immediate cuts to meet budget.
Sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Did you state within a certain time?
I did not, by December 31.
I'm sorry, but when?
December 31.
December 31.
Okay, is there a second? Is that pretty clear? Is there a second? There was a second first time. Does that go away? We've asked you to clarify his statement.
The question is, with the clarification, is there a second?
Okay. Is there another motion done? Is there another proposal? Okay. So, the second concept was to revert to the preliminary 2019-2020 budget. Is there a motion to approve that step? The second concept was to approve the 2019-2020 preliminary budget. That was with a, word. But the motion would include some of the same, I would think, possibly include some of the same amendments That's what we were talking that would need to take a preliminary budget for the current fiscal year, approve that. Do I have a motion for that? Okay, seeing none. The third option is to go to the 18-19 budget. Do I have a motion for that?
I'm going to move to approve this budget as presented, provided that we're no longer charging people to enter Cameron Park Light.
I move to approve this budget as presented, provided that we no longer charge people to enter Cameron Park Lake.
Do I have a second? Seeing none. Any other ideas from the board? So, obviously, this budget is not amenable to the board. So Jason, we need some direction here.
I'm sorry, it's truly a policy decision, not a legal one. It's
Okay.
the board
So
either
we have,
makes a motion or it passes or not.
so we have until the 1st of September. We could hold it, right? We'd have to have a special meeting. And I'm not sure how much information the general manager will be able to bring back to us in the next 10 days. So, but if you have something to say, you need to say it to everyone. You can say it to all of us, Shelley. You can say it to all of us. So could I ask the board for some other direction other than what the general manager has expressed would be provided? Are there specific issues with the current budget? Is it the format? Is it the projection?
Okay, thank you for asking that question. So two things. First of all, with the concept of cost accounting, it's hard for me to be able to say, I really think that this line item needs to be cut or reduced in the expenditures because I can't see how each line item ties to income. So I'm kind of operating in this deep water that I can't see what's down. And I really do appreciate the amount of work staff has done and the systems and people are trying to understand what's been going on here. So I do appreciate that. It makes me really uncomfortable to try to, because I would like to say, well, I feel like I can prioritize better if I can understand how much income line items cost us. So what I would like to see is, and I'm not asking for this in the next 10 days or weeks, but what I would like to see is I think what I'd like to see is a better understanding of how much these line items cost. And I understand that there's a lot of work being done in that realm. really do not want to keep the initial budget as our acting budget. I don't want to keep last year's budget as our acting budget, so I feel like I'm in a buffet and I don't like anything being offered. I don't want to come to a meeting again, to talk about this.
So let me,
So I'm thinking I might put a motion on the table to approve this tasteful budget. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to move to approve this budget as decided.
Yeah, 'cause she can't. You agree with me on what's the budget, she worries about it.
So we've had a motion and
so,
Director Cross, if I could, I'm sorry, if I could just clarify, that was to adopt resolution number 2019-18.
I apologize.
Is that correct?
yes, I made a motion to adopt resolution number 2019.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor? Opposed? No.
I'm sorry, that wasn't
Eric?
clear. Is there any chance we can do that by roll call?
Yes. Director Morrison?
No.
Director Carlson? Aye. Director Wooten?
Aye.
Director Azen?
Aye.
And you're laughing, Joe? You're disgusting.
We don't have a
Yes,
plan.
you did.
We do not have a plan. That's right, well, no, it's our choice,
All right, moving on.
because it's our district. You put yourself in a trap and it screwed you.
All right, hold on. Hold on.
Not a brain.
All right, let's move on to
Financial
item
genius.
9, the summer spectacular financial summary.
Do this every year, for 10 years. Same money.
Hold on, Bill.
I know. You can throw me out if you want, because I'd be really happy to leave. Listening to
No,
those,
let's just
listening to those.
hold your comments. Hold your comments, please.
Not a brain.
Hold your comments.
No, throw me out. You ready to go?
Yeah.
I can't take
Are
anymore.
you going to talk, Joe?
This is their community.
Who's doing this?
They're willing to screw us.
All right, the summer spectacular financial summary, summer
Put
2019.
themselves in a trap.
Recommended action is to receive and discuss. Summer spectacular was held in June 2019. Attached is the financial summary, report of revenues and expenditures, compiled with the assistance of the recreation supervisor, the park superintendent, and the finance officer. Event revenues totaled $57,413, and expenditures totaled $58,249.72. Net cost of the district is $836.76. Staff will develop a plan for summer spectacular to continue as a cost-neutral event and report back to the Parks and Recreation Committee in October. The plan will include capitalizing on ticket sales, donations, sponsorships, and volunteers to make the event cost-neutral. The Budget and Administration Committee reviewed the financial summary earlier this month. Since the 1st of August, additional costs and revenues were received, which updated the financial summary. And attachment 9A is the 2019 Summer Spectacular Financial Summary. Any questions?
Pretty darn good.
So I've got a question. Donation under the event revenue, first paragraph, donations and sponsors. Again, we're getting nothing. Where's the breakdown of these donations and sponsors? Where are their comparisons for the last 3 to 5 years? So that we have an understanding. We're trying to keep this event, but we're not giving any historical information. It's lacking detail, just as the budget is lacking detail. Where did we end up with this $26,421 in donations? Always what? No.
So we brought forward a summer secretary budget from last year. It was costing the district $20,000.
Now, I'm talking about donations and sponsors. Do we have a breakdown?
Yes, I can tell you that El Dorado Disposal donated $14,000. Netflix, BOD, and Renault donated $5,000. Marshall Hospital donated $1,500. And then we had some miscellaneous donations at the gate and things like that. Agus and Terry donated $500.
Okay, so that's 20,500. And then where did the other,
Then there was an additional
5,000
money that came from the foundation.
Yeah,
how much?
Additional money came from the foundation.
$5,000.
Approximately, yes.
5,000? So the 14,000 from waste management, that has nothing to do with our partnership money, that was above and beyond?
that's above and beyond the franchise fees.
So that was a separate check.
Yes, it's a separate check.
And why 14? Where did they come up with that number?
I have no idea.
14,000.
It's a big bag, it's 14.5.
Okay, great. Any questions from the board members? Or comments? Thumbs up?
I mean, there are some questions, but that might be for another time as we plan for next year. Once allocations as well as potential expenses for weekend, we'll do something. So if we're just reporting on this year's,
Right, we'll come back, all the adjustments for next year.
right.
So at the Parks and Recreation Committee, if you could bring forward some historical information in order for us to be able to plan for next year. The same line items in the last so many years. I know that we're talking about going out and bidding on fireworks to see if we can get a better price. And I know that you've been working on, all of these bids. But if we could have some historical information that would be helpful for the committee to bring forward and with on budget admin and support.
Would you like, what if you look at some more specific pieces on that? So for instance, shuttle buses, it would be nice to see how much was used.
Yeah,
That's
there's
$1,500.
information here.
As we're looking at sponsors, could we look at Gates Rent Car, who would become a sponsor, and that's their sponsorship is using bands and such from there. Just looking at specific things like that. So yes, more historical as well as usage this time.
For
Let's
us to
decide
be
that.
able to go out to these vendors and say,
Right.
this is what we've had, this is your contribution.
Right.
Vehicles would be huge
Right.
for them, for a write-off, and we wouldn't have a bill.
Right.
Okay, open it up to the public, any comments?
I was just surprised. I was surprised with all the hoopla that we didn't have enough, we were in the whole blah, 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 that there was never any mention that there were sponsorships given. There was never one mention that the garbage company donated money. We knew that when we can Netflix, but I just found that really odd. And so if you've got donations and sponsorships, we need to have them listed. We need to know who helped our community out. And maybe next year you can do the same thing, There was a lot of hoopla out there with, next door, your sales, as far as your sales compared to this year, last year was not substantial rise. Wasn't even $2,000. I have all the figures. But we got help, but there was never any mention that the garbage company stepped up, ever.
I believe that they were on our flyer, and then we also made announcements.
Well, I'm talking about here, Joel. I'm talking about at meetings. I'm not looking at a flyer. I'm looking at, like I said, there was so many people were heartbroken and stepped up and helped out in this community. And if our garbage company stepped up, then, I would have liked to have known about it. That's all I'm saying.
Everything that's in there to live in this job. Any other comments? didn't get out and about around the park. I had a foot injury, but I did celebrate out there, and I want to make the comment, and maybe Tina has a better idea, but it looks to me like it was really clean compared to past years. And that's a big deal, because I've been out there when it was like ankle or knee deep in trash. So maybe, Waste Connections helped out with that, I don't know, but, and maybe to publicize, you know, like at baseball fields, how they have banners, we could put banners along the cyclone fence to give more attention to the sponsors.
Thank you. Any other comments? Yes, sir.
All this budget talk, are you taking into consideration the possibility that this country will go into a recession?
Well, we're talking about our summer spectacular. And we are trying to find the way financially in financial interesting times to continue this event. And because it was costing us so much money, there was the possibility of cutting it from the budget in order to present a balanced budget. So with the sponsorships and negotiating every single one of these contracts, we were able to have a very small shortfall this year, $7,000. So, yeah, I'm sure the general manager, every one of us in the department heads are thinking, hopefully thinking, that there'll be another recession. There always has been the pattern, and that's why we're trying to be as thrifty as possible.
Well, if there is a recession, would some income be cut down a lot or cut off?
Well, again, we're talking about money budgeted programs, as this is. We're trying to eliminate budgeting money toward this. We're trying to break even. So what happens in a recession is that property values go down, so we lose income again. So we are trying to plan to support the programs that we want to keep, eliminate the ones that are not working, and bring in new ideas that will bring in revenue to the district.
I have a super question. Is this a receive and file item, or we have
It's just,
Oh,
it's just discussed, it's called receive and discuss. So we have a conversation with the new members of the community.
Thank you, and I apologize, I won't be able to stay a lot longer, I apologize. Thank you.
So this is, any other comment, back to the board, any other comments? No. So, we receive and discuss. On to item number 10, which you have a new handout for. This is public hearing to approve resolution 2019-19, stating the purposes and fixing the amount of money to be raised by taxation in the district to pay the voter-approved debt for the fiscal year and setting the tax rate for 2019-2020. And this is a discuss and approve of the board full vote.
Take it away, Vicki.
Basically, this is a tax that we take on every year, and what we do is we, based on the assessed value of property on all taxable property within the district, we calculate how much money that we're going to need and going to receive for the payment of the principal and interest for the bond for the next coming year. The tax rate has been calculated to be 0.020895 per $100 of secured assessed value. Last year's rate was .02390 per $100 of secured assessed value. The decrease in the rate reflects a larger fund balance contributing to the amount necessary to pay principal and requirements. So we're asking for a poll vote to approve the resolution 2019-19 for the setting of the rate to pay for the bond.
Comments? Questions?
I'll just comment that it's, from my reading of this, it's a fairly straightforward, incremental, formulaic increase request.
It's actually a decrease in the rate. Do you have any list?
Yeah, the rate is decreasing.
Yes. So, the original paperwork of it was an increase. So, how did this change come about from an increase to a decrease?
In discussing the calculation for the rate with the electric controller, we discussed the amount of money that's sitting in fund balance.
Okay.
And state law will not allow us to hold any money in reserve. So the electric controller asked that we use that fund balance to decrease the rate for this year.
And we had something like $268,000 in our fund balance.
No, our fund balance was $60,000. Which we're taking into account in the calculation.
Okay. Okay. So we're sure that this is correct, and there's quite a discrepancy in the original. So just, we're sure on this one, that we're
Yes.
by county, we're going forward.
Mhm.
Okay.
The only difference is that we were not using the existing fund balance in the fund. And that fund balance has been accumulating over years, and we were asked now to address it.
Okay, great. So, bring it up to the public, any comments?
This is a public hearing.
Open the hearing. Open the public hearing for resolution 2019-19. Any comments? Seeing none, we'll bring it back, close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. Do I have a motion?
A motion to approve resolution 2019-19, stating fixing an amount of money to raise that taxation. The district pays for the approved debt with the fiscal year setting the tax rate for 2019.
And do I have a second?
Second.
And then
So this is a poll vote. Director Morrison?
Aye.
Director Carlson?
Aye.
Director Wood?
Aye.
And Director Amy?
Okay. Okay, so, is there a comment, Director Wooten? Let's move on to board information items. At this time, the board and staff are provided the opportunity to speak on various issues. Direction by the president may be given, however, no action may be taken unless the board agrees to include the matter on the subsequent agenda. Item 11, matters to and from.
I'd like to congratulate the district on obtaining the transparency certification.
Excuse me, Director Morrison, I don't think Director, attorney should be having a sidebar. Sorry, you guys, but that's just not permitted in a meeting.
We have not enough public
It
in
is
the
not
hearing.
permitted in a meeting.
I can have sidebar with any member of the council anytime that I choose to, or anytime that they want. Please proceed. I take direction from the board of directors.
I enjoyed seeing Eagle Scout at the dog park in action
Eric, any comments?
No comments right now.
Okay. I wanted to thank the staff for all the hard work this summer. The parks are getting there. It's wonderful to see Gateway Park. It hasn't looked this good in all the years that I've lived here. The fence at Hacienda is a tremendous asset. I wanted to thank the recreation supervisor and the park superintendent for all the work that they put into this year, and all of the employees for the work they put into summer programs. I think everyone that I spoke to was very happy. And I wanted to thank Mike and the district for being so receptive to the EcoStar projects. As he stated, the memorial bricks that were sold to raise funds to buy the fencing for the dog park at Hacienda Park were reinstalled, and if you get a chance, go take a look at that. We had anticipated having a park renaming agenda item this month. It's not going to happen until next month, to talk about the whole project, the ending of the El Dorado Dog Owners Guild nonprofit, and the dedication of the bricks at the park. So more to come next month. The next topic is the community start times. I broached the subject at our meetings mostly in conjunction with the fire chiefs, because the fire committee meeting typically was ending within our hour. And as you know, we added a half-hour buffer to our committee meetings a year or so ago in order to compensate for one, having a new CCNR officer and getting her up to speed. CCNR committee meetings that started at 5:30 were running into the Park and Recreation committee meetings. Parks and Recreation was having to wait up to a half hour or more to have the CCNR committee ended. And the same benefit was given to fire and budget admin. So there is a concept on the table to start the CCNR committee at 5:30 on Monday, and fire and emergency services at 5:30 on Tuesday, to keep those the same, and then to start the Park and Recreation Committee at 6:30 on Monday, and then budget and admin at 6:30 on Tuesday. So that's open for the board discussion.
I have no comment because it doesn't affect my meeting.
I have no problem with that at all. We're given the history of from going just an hour. Obviously, there's conflict with that, but that's, yeah. If there's a rare meeting that it was long answer, that's fine. That's better for everybody.
And that could happen, and the general manager can advise us that she may need more time for either CCNRs
That's all that comes up.
or fire, and if something comes up that for the last year, fire's been on time, and CCNRs have been cut down to the allocated hour. Yeah? Do we vote on this? Just a recommendation back to the general manager group? Okay, so I think that works for us. If the other directors have any comments, they could talk about it, but I think it's pretty much been talked about. Okay, great. So, upcoming trainings and community meetings. Jill?
Yeah, there's just
Just a couple of items. I sent one off today about transit meeting that's coming up, workshop. Also, we've got some listed here that I sent off to you as far as the drinking water treatment tours. Also, the CSBA conference is going to be in Anaheim, the 25th through the 28th. Sounds like a great workshop. And some scholarships in the area.
Okay, I wanted to ask if Nikki could produce the SDRMA schedule of webinars and events that the board can participate in.
It's in your director's handbook, so you all receive the orientation and that information. It changes often, and so all of that source information is in your director's handbook. And if you have any difficulty, just call me, or call me, or send me an email.
But if there's something coming up that we could attend, can we get an email? I mean, is it once a month, is it every week, is it?
It's all the time.
Monday?
Okay, I get emails
And all of
from
them-
the CSEA like constantly about.
Right, and they're all, and a lot of them are on demand and they're webinars, so you take it whenever you want to. So if, the source document for you, first reference would be your info, your board orientation handbook, and then if you have any questions from there, just talk to Nikki. But a lot of them are ongoing trainings and workshops.
And the handbook will tell us which ones get garnered points. You know, some of them are, that's what we're working towards, get the points to reduce the.
Right, I think we've provided, it's in the report, which ones,
I saw the report.
yeah, and the report lists the training that you have to do for the credit. Yeah.
Okay, webinars and, okay, great. Okay, any more on that?
I just want to acknowledge that committee meetings next week in September, the Tuesday meetings happen first on September 3rd, the Monday meetings happen second on September 9th. So just be aware and not confused.
If we're following the report that you handed out. Let's go, huh? Yes. Okay. So, LAPCO was dark last month, so there's no report. And let's move on to committee reports, budget matter.
When you cannot hear, the board simply will brought forward the budget as well as paying attention to you. Bringing the state budget as well as the SDRMA summer spectacular. We had a good conversation with fire department expenses. Grant came to explain about the lands, stuff like that, taxation rates. And then a list of other items for future meetings, which were all listed in the budget report and for A and B priorities. So.
Okay. CCNRs, any updates on those?
I'll just give a quick update. Kate Gilligan gave the same presentation to CCNR that she gave this evening on her achievements over the past year. I think that we unfortunately learned that Robert Dalton will not be on the committee anymore due to moving out, so that's unfortunate. And as far as I'm concerned, the committee is moving along smoothly and making decisions, and I think it sounds like it's going to be coordinating and professionalizing, if you will, its coordination with the Architectural Review Committee. So I think it's moving along really well. Thank you.
So I want to ask you a question on the items requiring action. We haven't had anything come forward to us for a while. Do you have any opinions on these, or there'd be some long simmering issues?
There was a long simmering issue, and it went away when the house was sold. So we've been monitoring items, and for me personally, my priority has been on the extreme high fire danger zones and violations that could be a hazard. I know that's not the purpose of the CCNR, but given limited resources, that's a priority for me. So I think that there's been a great deal of education going out to the community, and particularly adding items to the website so that people know what other resources to go to if our CCNR staff and rules are not in place to go to resolve a particular issue in the community. I think that's been really helpful in kind of proactively deflecting questions, but more importantly, helping the public find the help they need. So I think that kind of thing has probably lessened some of the stuff having to come forward to the board.
Great. So the ones that are coming forward have been worked on, as usual. Okay, fire and emergency services. We discussed the capital improvement priorities for the fire department master plan. As always, we review weed abatement, the weed abatement program, the concept of having a year-round program, having the program be year-round, the reduction in the weed abatement staff, and the tremendous success that we've seen, the 25% contact to the improved lots. Director Carlson discussed her work to find out the number of households that are signed up with the Code Red service in order to be alerted when there's an emergency, a fire emergency in the community. That's an ongoing project for her, including the evacuation plans for those who don't drive and the unfortunate statistics from the Paradise Fire for those who were not able to get out of harm's way. Parks and Recreation, the general manager presented the parks improvement projects on a prioritized list. We are hopeful that the grant writer will be hired soon and will be able to start delving into projects that are and funds that are available for the district to take advantage of. We had a kind of an update, if you will, from the disc golf course representatives. They have worked very closely with the park superintendent, Mr. Crowley. He has worked with them to bring the project forward, and we have a course set, and we've resolved access, which will be through the front gate of Cameron Park Lake, and moving forward with fundraising. Okay.
I have a quick question. That list of priorities projects for parks, is that available on our website, or where do I?
It's contained within the Parks and Rec agenda, and then we're bringing it forward to the board, I believe in September, along with the fire safety priorities, because Jed has followed up with the list of priorities.
I don't see it in my copy of the agenda of the Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It's in the packet.
July packet.
Yeah,
Right.
July packet, July packet.
So it's on the
Oh, it is on the
Yes.
website.
Yes. So that's what we discussed, and then you can see the items that will come for the next future board meetings. Okay, and then solar energy ad hoc.
Nothing to report at this point other than the RFP process is in process. And once those come to staff opening, we'll process.
Okay, thank you very much. So if there's no other comments, we will be closing the board meeting and opening public comment before we convene to close session. At this time, members of the public may speak on any, I'm sorry, I should ask for adjournment. All in favor of adjourning the meeting?
I'm sorry, we're not quite yet.
No.
You were on the right
I
track.
was on the right track, okay. Then I thought, oh my gosh, should I adjourn? I'm just closing that meeting. At this time, members of the public may speak on any closed session agenda item. Closed sessions may be called as necessary for personnel, litigation, and labor relations, or leave the negotiator prior to the purchase, sale, exchange, or lease of real property. Members of the public may address the board prior to closing the meeting. Any Public comment? Okay, seeing none, then we will convene to close session.
Yes.
So,
Oh, just before we do, if I could read this now into the record before, it just makes it a little easier, my job a little easier after this. So, the board's wish will be closed session regarding agenda item number 14, pursuant to California Government Code Section 549.7B1, consider the appointment, et cetera, unrepresentative employee of the district general manager.
thank you so much.